Hello, guys. So, you're probably wondering why I'm laying here like I'm Cleopatra. And you guessed it, I sprained my ankle. And the only reason why I was allowed to do this video is because I hurt my ankle. If I didn't hurt my ankle, I'd be selling and shipping inventory. So, today I want to talk about the addictive nature of reselling and buying and shopping and just how that can affect you, affect your family, your lifestyle, and how reselling can be a really good thing, but also could, if too much of anything, can be a bad thing. And this is a proof. Look, there's my leg. Anyways, I actually sprained my ankle, I think. I didn't even go to the doctor because I'm really frugal, but I was carrying boxes of inventory down to the garage, very stacked high, and I tripped on the last step. But the reason I want to talk to you about is saying that sometimes if you like something, too much of any good thing can be unhealthy. And to reassess your business, your inventory, your sales, how much time and effort and energy you put into something, and to see, is it healthy? Is it within the bounds of what would be like a job? And also, how does that affect your homemaking, your spouse, your personal life, and your self-care? And to really try to marry those things with your business, because if you don't, then you could do this, you could hurt yourself. And you also see how you respond to those things. Like, even though I hurt my ankle, I'm like still trying to work. I was just in my inventory room trying to like look for an item on a sprained ankle instead of just resting. And I felt like the Lord put in my heart was, you need to slow down and feel your heart and what's going on, and not just keep trying to work and survive and things like that. Because what happens if it's too much of a good thing, it can become an idol, like, like something that you just obsessed about, something that you do in excess, and that is not a healthy thing. Like, and if you don't know what an idol is, like, I'm Christian, so maybe that would make sense to you. But if you're not Christian, what we'd say is something that preoccupies your mind to an unhealthy, excessive degree, that you put that as a priority over everything. And when you have an idol, it really affects your relationship with God, with people, with your own self, and with your home life. And I feel like I kind of did that. And I went on overboard and overdrive. So hence this slowing me down. I also realized that because I was overworking myself and overdoing it, I was getting really snappy. And if you're one of my followers and I was snappy, I'm sorry. I apologize ahead of time. But when you're like doing everything as a one-man show, shipping, selling, organizing, finance, accounting, shopping, sourcing, YouTubing, Instagramming, it's a lot of work. And then when people ask you questions, you just like, you know? And anyways, about idols, it's like, even like your spouse or your friend can be an idol, like just being obsessed just about your spouse or whatever, and only thinking about him and serving him, and not like thinking about God or, friends, or just having more balance in your life. And how when things are not balanced, then this is what can happen, or something suffers. And you always hear about these, celebrities and famous people. They have like this amazing life, but like their spouse left them, and then the spouse says, I felt like he was never home, or stuff like that. And that's because they didn't have balance with their home life as well as their work life balance. And also, the addictive nature of shopping and reselling could also be like a brain chemical thing too, because every time you sell something, you have this dopamine in your brain circuitry that says like reward, and then that dopamine fix will make you want it more and more. It's like gambling addiction. Selling could also be an addiction in that the reward sensation comes off in your brain and you get addicted to that high. And that in itself could be something that really affects your boundaries with your own health. Because self-care is so important. Caring for yourself and loving yourself and, you know, taking care of your home and all of that is such an important thing that we don't want to neglect those things in the sake of making a sale or being popular on social media or just needing outside validation of the world. Because sometimes, I don't know about you, but for me personally, is when I get a lot of likes or comments on my sales, I'm getting external validation. But external validation is different from internal validation of like loving yourself and taking care of yourself. External validation, sometimes you will go such extreme that you will neglect certain aspects of your life that will be neglected because you want that external validation. And that's all connected to self-love. Like if you love yourself, you wouldn't need so much external validation that it's affecting your boundaries with your health and your marriage and your home, because you're like, I know myself, I love myself, and I don't need outside worldly success or materialism or those kind of things to show that I'm a person of worth. So what do you do once you realize these things? What you do is you just kind of slow down and you feel your feelings and you feel, what is it in my heart that I feel like internally I'm telling myself? Or if you're a Christian, what is it that you feel like God is telling you? And when you do that, you get in touch with who you are. And when you get in touch with who you are, you're showing and practicing self-love. I hate these kind of cliches like practice self-love, and then you think like practicing self-love is like, okay, get a manicure, walk around the block, go pet a dog. Like you're like, okay, like how is that self-love? Like self-love also is like a deeper part of connecting to your core sense of self and identity, your needs, your unmet needs, and parenting that part of yourself and saying, you know what, maybe I feel like this internal drive that I'm not good enough. I need to show the world that I'm successful and produce constantly. And then saying to your inner child, imagining like a child inside your body saying, you know what, you're good enough. You're okay. You need to take care of yourself. That sale, just let it go. Right now, your ankle is sprained and you need to just love yourself. And the more you practice this internal intuitive like self-love, self-care, or bringing the Holy Spirit as your Christian to connecting with your inner core, the more you start to realize how self-love, self-esteem, and building your self-worth, how you're practicing. It's just like a muscle. You practice that, and the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. And it doesn't have to be this superficial thing like walk around the block, get a massage, take a spa bath. Like all those things are also a form of self-love, but like that's more of like on an outside kind of way of self-love, whereas internal, like more deeper work is being in tune with your inner self and your child and knowing how to care for yourself. Okay, if this is like way beyond you and you're like, what the hell are you talking about? Just show me Zara. I'm sorry, but this is just something I feel like God put in my heart to share, because it's something that I also struggle with, and I don't know if you struggle with that as well. But if you do, I want you to maybe watch more YouTube videos on self-care, self-love, inner child work, and you could even read books on it. But for just like a short practice of like an exercise, like right now what we're talking about is if you were in bed and you were alone and you're breathing slowly and calmly and you were just kind of